Greyhound bus, December 3rd, North Platte, Nebraska. The time is 2 a.m. in the morning. It is snowing heavily. It is dark on the bus. Nearly everyone on the bus is sleeping. Merconi is awakened by the jerking motion of the bus. Merconi can see a black SUV cutting off a tractor-trailer. The tractor-trailer swerves to the right, slows down to avoid hitting the vehicle. A second vehicle now cuts in front of our bus and jams on its brakes. The bus swerves to avoid hitting the tractor-trailer. The tractor-trailer loses control and flips over. The bus driver jams on the brakes and changes lanes. The black SUV now cuts in front of the bus, trying to force the bus off the road. The bus driver slams on his brakes and slows the bus down. The bus driver can now be heard yelling, "These guys are nuts! They're trying to kill us!" A passenger near the front of the bus can be heard shouting, "They purposely forced the tractor-trailer off the road!" Everyone on the bus is now wide awake. The passengers are all nervously chattering throughout the bus. The driver can be seen talking on his cell phone and calling his superiors, informing them of the near-fatal accident. Michael Merconi again thinking out loud. I was able to see the tractor-trailer flipping over on its side. I only caught a quick glimpse of the two vehicles before the cars sped away. The bus driver did an amazing job of avoiding the tractor-trailer. I realize now why the Flynn brothers were not on the bus. I was supposed to die in a staged accident. I took out my journal and documented the event and wrote these words. I'm writing this script. I'm writing the ending, and my life isn't over until I say it's over. And the more stuff they throw at me, the more stuff I write in my typewriter. I plan to expose them. Greyhound Bus Terminal, Chicago, Illinois, 7 p.m., December 3rd. All the passengers exit the bus and enter the terminal. Merconi walks to the back of the coach and picks up his luggage. On the way into the terminal, he passes the bus driver and stops to talk to the driver. I'd like to thank you for getting us to Chicago safely. The bus driver, visibly nervous, answers, "You're welcome." Merconi then picks up his bags and enters the Chicago Greyhound bus terminal. Once in the terminal, Merconi can see it is crowded, with people walking all around, with women and children sitting in the terminal. There are people standing on lines at boarding gates with their luggage. Many people are waiting for their transportation home. Merconi walks over to the customer service area and waits on a line to speak to someone at the desk to get information on his connecting bus to New York. Merconi waits patiently in line until it's his turn, and then he approaches the counter. Merconi now nervously asks, "I'd like to know if I can still catch the 7 p.m. bus to New York City." The customer service agent now looks down at a piece of paper and answers, "I'm sorry, sir, but the 7 p.m. bus has already left the terminal." Merconi now gains his composure before he asks the following question. "Can you tell me when I can catch the next bus to Port Authority in New York City?" The customer service agent again checks the schedule. The next bus will be departing at 11 p.m. at gate number 8. Merconi now visibly upset. "Wow, that's a 4-hour wait." "Thanks." Merconi leaves the customer service area and carries his luggage over to gate number 8 and stands near the head of the line. At the front of the line is a white man, age 35, wearing a New York Yankees baseball cap that starts a conversation with Merconi. "We almost got killed last night. There were two vehicles that purposely tried causing us to have an accident." "Yes, I saw that," Merconi answered. "I was sitting in the front of the bus near the driver when it happened." "Yes, you're right. We could have all died, and most of the passengers who were asleep would have never known what happened." "The bus driver was very upset. He and I talked for most of the night." A few of the passengers on line nodded in agreement. I made sure to thank the driver for having the presence of mind to get us all here safely. "Oh, my name is Bobby Ross. I'm from Buffalo." My name is Michael Merconi. I'm from New York City. It's a pleasure to meet you. Michael Merconi and Bobby Rods now shake hands.
I can't believe we missed our bus by 10 minutes. It's going to add another 12 hours of my trip.
With all this bad weather we've been having, Bobby, I was hoping they would have held the bus at least a few minutes longer. Michael Merconi is now distracted by the sight of the Flynn brothers. John Flynn stares directly at Merconi. He then talks to his brother and points out Merconi.
Do you know those guys?
Michael Merconi and Bobby Rods stare back at the Flynn brothers. Merconi pauses for a second before he answers. No, they got on the bus with me back in Olympia, Washington.
Well, it looked a little suspicious to me.
Bobby Rods and Michael Merconi observe the Flynn brothers talking to one another. John Flynn is doing all the talking. His brother Greg nods his head as though he is following orders. Greg Flynn boldly walks over to where Merconi is standing and brazenly starts a conversation.
I see you're going to New York.
Merconi boldly answers, Yeah, it looks that way.
Well, maybe I'll see you later.
Merconi answers, Yeah, see you later, pal. Greg Flynn walks back over to gate number 4 where his brother John is standing on line waiting to board the next bus.
Luckily for you, Michael, those guys won't be on our bus.
Michael Merconi now scratching his head. Man, I haven't slept very much in the last 3 days, Bobby.
I know exactly how you feel.
Bobby, can you watch my luggage? I like to go to the restroom.
Sure, no problem.
Merconi now lets out a long sigh. You know, the last time I tried to use the bathroom in Salt Lake City, I had one of the Flynn brothers follow me into the bathroom asking me questions while I was trying to take a leak.
Be careful, Michael, and watch your back.
Merconi now has a flashback. New York City street corner, 40 years earlier. Grandfather Merconi, approximately 75 years old with gray hair, wearing a white short-sleeved shirt and blue trousers, is holding a baseball bat. He is standing on the corner waiting for the light to change with his grandson Michael. Grandfather Merconi takes a handkerchief from his pocket and wipes the tear in young Michael's eye.
Michael, I wanted you to stop a-crying.
Yes, Grandpa.
Grandfather Merconi places the bat in young Michael's hand.
Now, Michael, I want you to go back into the park and look for the kids who beat you up. Nobody messes with a Merconi. Capiche?
Young Michael waits until the light turns green before crossing the street. His grandfather stands on the corner and watches Michael as he heads back to the park. Merconi now reaches into his luggage and takes out a thick black computer cable. He makes a hangman's knot with the cable and puts the cable into his jacket pocket. Merconi now leaves the line and walks toward the restroom. Merconi enters the restroom to make a pit stop. Merconi then exits the restroom without incident a few minutes later. As Merconi walks back towards the line, he notices Greg Flynn in a nearby water fountain, bending down getting a drink of water. Merconi's blood now begins to boil. Michael calmly walks over to where Greg Flynn is standing and says, "Today must be your lucky day. You'll never know how lucky a guy you truly are." Greg Flynn is totally confused by Merconi's comments. Merconi, back online at gate number 8, watches as the Flynn brothers board their bus. Merconi now turns to Bobby Rods and says, "I hope that's the last time I see any of those two guys."
Michael, those guys aren't playing with a full deck of cards. I think they're only playing with the box.
Michael's Greyhound bus begins to board. Michael sits in the front of the bus next to Bobby Rods. I was planning on getting a few hours sleep, especially since I didn't have to worry about keeping an eye open for the Flynn brothers. Missing my connecting bus had extended my trip by another 8 hours.